All right, so the sixth house today in astrology, what does it mean on that very fundamental level? This can be used for both your natal chart interpretation as well as transits, if you're receiving any transits to the sixth house, especially if if there's any planets there. So that's essentially what you want to look at. Do you have any planets in the sixth? This will show you the propensity of energy in that area. It'd really highlight this area of life if there was a lot of planets. But if not, you can also look at the sign position. In fact, you want to look at both the planets and the signs, as well as the ruler and significator, which we'll talk about, and that'll give you a very good, well-rounded picture of this area. So essentially what this area is if you can imagine, again, the journey, we came out of the fifth house last, which was about finding our self-expression, our creativity, our passion, and interests. So essentially, the next step is, once we're aware of our interests in life, is to refine them. And that's essentially what the sixth house is. It's about refinement. It's about improvement. And this can be both self-improvement or helping others improve, such as through our work or our craft. And our environment in general could be, such as our routine and daily tasks, daily things we're involved with. And anything that essentially we are improving, whether it's us, someone else, or the environment. So things like small animals can be seen from the sixth, because we help and nurture and take care of small animals. So that's a sixth house thing. Your daily work, your routine, your health, when it has to do with specifically the diet and the regimen that's associated with your health, and the kinds of activities that you would need to maybe get in good health. And that's a really important thing of the sixth, is this kind of 2-point energy. In order to improve, we have to understand that there's some sort of problem or issue or something that needs correction. And so things like diseases and problems and issues can all be seen from the sixth house also, because it's needing that improvement in some sense. So that's basically what the sixth is. It can also show you your craft, specifically at work, like the thing you're developing in your life, and anything else on that general level. So first of all, let's go and look at this in terms of the quadrants. This is in the bottom right quadrant of the chart. So the bottom is still subjective, not as subjective as like the fourth house, for example, but still personal, right? So it's about our own personal refinement, but it's interpersonal because it's on the right side of the chart. So there's almost, two ways of looking at this. One is that through our own self-improvement and through wanting to improve things, it naturally benefits and assists others. And that's a good way of working with the sixth anyways, is really being that other-oriented, from the other-oriented perspective, which helps us really get the most out of this sixth house to share, give, and help others be the best they can be. But it really comes and starts from us being the best that we can be through that refinement. So that's the sixth house in terms of the quadrant. You can also look at this in terms of it being a cadent house. It is the second of the cadent houses. The last one we talked about was the third house, which is, as you remember, very mutable. And that's what the cadent houses are. They're basically the mutable parts of the chart that when we put energy into them, they help all the other areas of life be that much more flexible. So when our time management's good, our energy management's good, our health is good, those kinds of things, our work is stable, we're that much more adaptive. We can see new opportunities, we can go in this direction and that direction, etc. So that's a big part of it, especially because the ruler of the sixth is, the planet associated with it is Mercury, which, as you know, is all about that mutable change. Now, it's also an earth house, right? So very much associated with Virgo in that regards, about the daily things and improvement and refinement in terms of that. And the axes is the 6th and the 12th. So opposite the 6th is the 12th house, which this axis is really about perfection. And it's not meant to be like, perfect perfection in the 6th house. It's just being the best version we can be, doing the best work we can do, doing the best job we can do. That's really the best way of working with the 6th. But it's the axis of perfection because the 12th house is God's perfection, right? It's God and spirituality and having faith and trust that there's a higher plan that is perfect. And so that's a good way of balancing out the 6th, is understanding that 12th house energy and putting energy into that. So meditation, prayer, anything that helps connect us to the divine plan or having that faith and trust really helps that more practical, busy energy of the 6th loosen up and have more freedom essentially in that sphere in our lives. So that's essentially what the 6th house is. Like I said, you want to look to see if there's any planets here. So for example, if someone had let's say the moon in the 6th house, this would be someone who needs everything sort of orderly, organized, and they just feel good when things are taken care of. That's the emotional security of the moon. Now, we don't always have planets there, but we always do have a sign. So look to see what that sixth house cusp is, what sign that is, and that'll give you a very good idea of the characteristics and qualities that come through that sixth. So for example, if it was Leo, this would be someone who in their approach to improvement is maybe very playful about it, maybe very creative about it as well, which is that Leo energy. So you can also look at other signs, also see how much of a portion of that sixth they take up, and you can read that as well. Now, to get even more specific, you can look at the ruler of the sixth. So in this case, in this example, it would be the sun, because the sun rules Leo. So the house placement and sign placement of the sun will give you that well-rounded picture. And you can also look at the significator of the sixth house, which for everybody is Mercury. So looking at Mercury's house and sign placement will give you a good picture as well. All right, so that's the sixth house in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. And I'll see you guys next time for the seventh house.